was a teacher over in Japan, you know, it was really tough to get the students to open up their textbooks. All right, open up your textbooks, page 63, and write down these lines. Okay, today we're learning the past participle grammar, and the students would find that so boring. But if I said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna put on the movie Back to the Future. Have you guys seen it before?" All right, and so I'll put on the movie, and the students all of a sudden were just like, "Boom! Wow, this is really fun." They wanted to, even during lunchtime, they were saying, "Oh, can we watch a little bit more? Can we watch a little bit more?"
Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of The Tutor's Take by the PaperTrue Studio. I'm Tanvi, your host for this episode. So I had this interesting opportunity to interview Rupa Sensei, who is based in Australia and teaches English in Japanese through his YouTube channel. Also featuring in this episode are some glitches, all thanks to my awesome internet connection. But all in all, this is an episode you wouldn't want to miss. So let's dive right into it. Hello and welcome to this episode. Today I have with me Rupa Sensei, who's from Melbourne, Australia. So Rupa.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. So my name is Rupa Sensei, and as you said, I'm here in Melbourne, Australia, and I make YouTube videos to teach English, and I mainly teach to Japanese people because I used to be a teacher over there. I used to live in Japan for about 3 years, and that was a great experience. But now I'm back here. I actually came back for university to Melbourne, and I really love Melbourne, Australia. I love Australia. We got great things over here. So, I'm pretty happy over here. But in the future, I'm definitely looking to travel again, in the coming years. I think that'll be a great opportunity.
All right, that's nice. So for how long have you been in Japan?
I lived in Japan for 3 years in total. So I first went there when I was 18. And that was for what's called a working holiday. So straight after I graduated from high school, I went over there and I did some ALT jobs. Do you know what an ALT is?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, well, it's a very popular job for people who speak English in Japan. It's an assistant language teacher. So I was the assistant English teacher. So, I'll talk to the kids and be the conversation partner for them, be the conversation teacher, so that, for some of these kids, it was the first time they've seen like a guy from Australia or a guy from America. So they had good fun in the class, and I had a really fun time teaching them. And then the next time I went there, it was for university. So that was back about 2-3 years ago. I went there for 1 year and studied in Osaka.
All right. Okay. So you said you came to Melbourne for university.
Yeah. So I was born and raised here in Melbourne. So I've done pretty much all my schooling here. Primary school, high school, and then university, as you said, down in Swinburne University here.
All right, that's nice to know. So if I ask you, what are you best at English or at Japanese?
Oh, definitely at English, because that's my native language. But I try my best to study a bit of Japanese every day. One of my key principles is, consistency is key. If you can become a very good speaker, and that's really important. Building a habit. I read a good book recently. It's all about building habits and you're sticking to them. A lot of people they'll have a habit 90 days or something like that, and then they'll quit. So you gotta stick to it for a year, 2 years, and then you'll really get good. And that's when it gets fun. When you're a beginner at something, you kind of lose motivation easily. It's not very fun. But once you start to get more advanced, it becomes more fun because you can do more advanced things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, what you pointed out about, building a habit and sticking to it. And that's really nice, actually. So I came across your YouTube videos where, you teach in Japanese as well. So I wanted to
Yeah.
know, how did you reach that level of Japanese?
How did I become pretty good? I wouldn't consider myself, native or fluent or that kind of level or anything. But, really, I started in high school. So in high school here in Australia, we have to learn a language. So I had between like French, German, or Japanese. So I chose Japanese because I really loved, Japanese anime and movies and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I can learn more about the culture there. So then I studied that in high school. But I wasn't really that good at studying in school because it was all like textbooks, and the teacher was like, hey, do this for homework, stuff like that. And then I only really liked in my later years of high school where I had a Japanese teacher who was super friendly, and he would kind of go like one step beyond just being a regular teacher. He was more like a friend. And he would teach us at lunchtimes if we needed help. He would be there for us for a special test. So I was like, well, this guy's giving us a lot of respect as a teacher. Hey, I'm going to give him good respect as a student, because respect goes both ways between a student and a teacher. That's really important for teachers and students to understand as well. So then I gave 100% effort to study Japanese. And in the evenings I would watch some TV shows and stuff like that. And it's just like I said before, building that habit. If you do something every day, eventually you're going to get good at it. It's impossible not to get good at something if you try hard every day. So and then I also really love just speaking to people. The first time you speak a language to someone, it's absolutely amazing. In a second language or a third language. The first time you speak to someone and they understand you and you understand them, that's such a great feeling. And then that kind of releases the dopamine in the brain to try harder and do it again. So, as long as you get the ball rolling, keep the ball rolling, keep watching movies, with the input to do your listening, you can read on the subtitles, and then what you learn in the movies and from textbooks from your teacher, start to use that in conversation. And that's what I did. I would go to, meetups when I was living over in Japan. I would make a lot of friends with people who are Japanese, and then also with friends, also make friends with people who are studying Japanese, so that we could motivate each other and learn from each other, learn different methods from each other.
That's interesting to know that you had people around and with whom you could speak Japanese with. So it kind of really helped you. And what I feel about languages is that if you don't speak the language, you don't really get good with it. It's something that I have realized.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah. And it was interesting to know that, your teacher always was so enthusiastic and, always motivated you to, do best in Japanese. So that is, again, one of the nice things.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a teacher and teach people now is, a teacher can do a lot in your life, that they might only be in your life for 1 year or one semester, but the lessons that they teach someone can last a lifetime, so that's really good. I've got respect for teachers all around the world. Doesn't matter what they're teaching. If you're teaching science, biology, history, English, languages, teachers are awesome. And it's a very important job, it's a very important profession. A lot of honor in the profession.
Yes, indeed. Teaching is an interesting job, and it's tough also at the same time, because
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I see that you use a lot of Japanese in your videos, and you also incorporate, scenes from TV shows or movies, even from anime. So, why did you choose this way to teach English?
Well,
And
I think the main reason is because I love learning Japanese that way, you know.
I,
I'll watch a lot of Japanese TV shows. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good way. And the second reason is when I was a teacher over in Japan, you know, it was really tough to get the students to open up their textbooks. All right, open up your textbooks, page 63, and write down these lines. Okay, today we're learning the past participle grammar, and the students would find that so boring. But if
oh.
I said, hey guys, I'm going to put on the movie Back to the Future. Have you guys seen it before? All right. And so I'll put on the movie, and the students all of a sudden were just like, boom, wow, this is really fun. They wanted to, even during lunchtime, they were saying, oh, can we watch a little bit more? Can we watch a little bit more? So it was like that. So that's when I realized, like, oh, wow, okay. A lot of people, you know, including myself, love to learn through media because it's presented in such a fun way. It doesn't feel like learning, even though you're learning through osmosis. You know, even if you don't understand 100%, you're slowly getting bits and pieces here and there, and you know that's great. And then also it's very good for new people to come into the English scene, because a lot of people they might think about learning a language, and how do I say it? They might just need an extra push to get started. And if they've already seen the movie and it's one of their favorite movies, say it's Harry Potter or a Disney movie, they've seen it 100 times. But the next time they watch the movie, if they understand English, it's going to make the experience 100 times better because they're going to be able to understand it by themselves. So it gives them more incentive to learn. And I feel like an incentive or a reason why you should learn the language is very important for beginners.
All right. So let's say you teaching language through videos was kind of a discovery while you were teaching other students.
A little bit of discovery and a little bit of, you know, self-discovery as well, because I love to watch the movies and anime and stuff like that to learn Japanese. But yeah, definitely when I was a teacher, I'll just, you know, whack on a movie, I'll put on a movie, and they'll be like, oh wow, yeah, more.
All right.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah, and you brought up a really interesting point about about self-discovery. So I feel that language learning takes you on the path of self-discovery, which is a really interesting thing in one's life. So I wanted to know from you, what do you think about shadowing? You know, shadowing as a technique to learn a language. So did you find any of your students, enacting the movie scenes while you were showing them the movies or something like that? Or repeating the dialogue?
Oh yeah. Oh, I would. Yeah. I used to make them. Act out the scenes. So I'd get it to say it was a monologue or something. I'd get one of the students who really liked the movie out of the front of the class, and hey, I'll give you the script. Hey, read it out. You know, have a bit of fun. Or if it was a pair task, something out of the book. You know, some passage about some random dialogue. You know, why not act out the movie scene, and then they had a lot of fun that way. It was like a they were being the actor. But again, during shadowing, during even just self-study, when you're self-studying by yourself in your room, that shadowing is a great way, because it's like having a role model right there to tell you, this is how you pronounce the words, this is how we use this specific idiom. Idioms are very hard to understand, right? And phrasal verbs. This is how we use it in a natural setting. And to go one step beyond that, I think it's very important to pick for people that you really like how they speak English, and then watch a lot of their movies. Just say you really like how Tom Cruise speaks English. Just an example, just an example. But just say you really like how he pronounces words and what kind of phrases he uses. Watch his movies, watch his interviews. And then shadow after him, like you said. Exactly, 100%.
All right. So have you, like any time in your career, practiced shadowing as a technique to learn Japanese? All right.
Oh yeah, there's this one actor I really like over in Japan, Nagase Tomoya, and he's in some of my favorite TV shows. And I think I've seen that show like 30 times.
All right. All right. So we have a big fan here. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you talked about, you used to make your students enact certain scenes from the movies and all of that. So let's say if they were enacting, as you pointed out, Tom Cruise, and then they started enacting Brad Pitt. So there would be a difference of accent in the way these actors speak, right? So did your students struggle in, picking up the accent, or did they give importance to the accent or something like that?
Oh, as a teacher, I say don't worry so much about the accent, but worry about pronunciation, because pronunciation and accent are two completely different things, right? Even if your accent isn't perfect, or you still have your, just say they're a Japanese student, or when I speak Japanese as an Australian. so my Japanese sounds a little funny, but I still have pronunciation that they can understand, right? So I like to differentiate between those things, differentiate between accent and pronunciation, because accent, you're not going to learn it 100% unless you actually move to the countries and you're listening to it every single day. But pronunciation is definitely something that you should focus on. I think, because if you learn bad pronunciation, you might pick it up as a bad habit, and then people won't be able to understand specific words. For example, a lot of my students have problems with R's and L's. So when they go to say some things, it can be miscommunicated. Where that's not a problem with accent, it's more like just pronunciation. So really try and drill down how you use your mouth, what muscles you're using, tongue position. There's a lot of different things to help with pronunciation. And then accent, you normally just learn through osmosis. As I said, if you want to learn the Australian accent, I don't know why, or if you want to learn the American accent, you got to go to that country, speak to the locals to pick up the accent. But pronunciation is something you can learn anywhere.
All right. Yeah. So that's nice to know that, the pronunciation is more important than the accent. And if at all you need to catch a certain accent, you should go to that particular country to get the hang of it.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. So I've seen in your videos that you also sometimes teach about the slang as well. So how do your students really enjoy? I mean, do they really enjoy that part, and how do they pick up on the slang?
I think they enjoy. I don't know. I enjoy teaching it, so at least that's good. Slang, how they should learn slang. Well, slang you really got to learn from native speakers. You can't really learn it from some textbook that was written by a company, or some random company. You got to learn it from the locals. You got to learn it from the natives, I guess. And then really it just becomes about remembering it. We've got a lot of weird slang in Australia, for example. We like to shorten words. Have you ever been to Australia?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, if you come to Australia, everyone's will say like, "G'day, mate. G'day, g'day." It means like good day. G'day,
Alright.
mate. How you going?
Alright.
How you going?
Okay.
Important words. So, instead of saying like service station, a gas station, we say like servo, or instead of saying chocolate, we'll say choco, chocky,
Alright.
chocky. Biscuit becomes like picky, cup of coffee becomes cuppa, have a cuppa. That's also
Alright.
used in British as well, British English. So slang, again, you just got to pick it up as you go, don't worry too much about it because otherwise you're going to know like only basic words and then some really random slang words that no one really, you don't need to know them, but they're fun. That's the thing about
Yeah.
slang. It's fun. Like when I'm
Yeah.
learning Japanese and someone teaches me a slang Japanese word, it's really fun. It breaks the monotony of just, okay, vocab, grammar. Yeah, chuck a slang, chuck an idiom in there, and it mixes things up. You feel refreshed if you do something fun like that.
Alright. So yeah, it turns out that it's a fun way to learn a language.
Yeah,
You introduce slang and it also I feel that the American slang is quite different than the Australian slang.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So sorry, could you repeat that? I think it cut out.
All right. So what I was saying that it turns out that slang is different for different countries. American slang is different than the Australian slang.
Oh yeah, very different. When I go hang out with my American friends or British friends, sometimes I'll say a word and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Like for we have another word for toilet. We call it dunny or
Right.
loo.
Okay,
And we say,
yeah.
"Oh man, I got to go use the dunny," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" or when I was in the university in Japan, I'd say, "Oh, I'm going to go down to the canteen," but they don't say canteen; they say cafeteria. So
Yeah.
some little words can get lost in translation.
All right. That's nice. So I would like to ask you, what according to you is lacking in language learning today?
Oh wow, that's a good question. What's lacking in language learning? I think, what's lacking? I think, just I think what should be emphasized more. I think now with the internet and YouTube and amazing things like podcasts, nothing's lacking. Everything's out there. It's all scattered. It's there might be some really good content on this platform, but and then some more on this platform over here, but it's all scattered. So I think something like a routine could really benefit students to have like a daily routine or maybe like a learning schedule or something. So something like, okay, this YouTube video would accommodate this particular grammar point or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's so many YouTube videos, but they're all random. If you type in a million videos probably, but your students kind of get confused as to which one should I learn, which ones are for beginners, which one should I learn after, because sometimes in English, like we need to learn like a prerequisite. So that if you don't know the present tense or the past simple tense, hey, don't try and learn the past participle because it's going to be too confusing, right? We got to kind of learn in steps. Whereas sometimes with just like random YouTube videos like I make, sometimes they're all over the place. But we try and make them structured. We try and do our best. And other than that, I think what should also be emphasized, as I was saying before, is a lot of people, and I'm guilty for this as well, will try and make like learn English in a week or something, like, just to get the clickbait or something, become fluent in 30 days. Well, it's going to take 10 years or something. It's going to take years to learn a language to a fluent level. So I think just more of that, just being real, being down to earth, and just saying, well, it's a long journey, but enjoy the journey.
Yeah, that's nice to know. I mean, obviously learning any language is a journey in itself, and it takes time to master it. Yeah. Okay, so while you were learning language, let's say Japanese, or while your students are learning English, so like, do they fear to make any mistake, or have they had any embarrassing moment and that demotivated them? So anything of that sort that had happened, would you like to share that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially when I was teaching in a school, because in school there's 30 other kids around you, and if you make a mistake, maybe this girl over here, she's going to laugh or something, you don't, that's what you think. You have that anxiety, and especially at that age, when you're 12, 13, you have a lot of anxiety. So that kind of fear of mistakes can really hold someone back. And that's, again, why I think maybe the classroom isn't the best place to learn, because I know the best times when I learned was when it was just one-on-one, because your teacher understands that if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. So you have less fear to make a mistake, rather than if you go out and speak to a random stranger, maybe you're going to have more fear of making mistakes. So there's different ways to kind of lower that fear, but again, it just comes down to having confidence in yourself. Having confidence in your own ability, and like I can remember the students that improved the most in my classes, the students that went on to becoming great English speakers, were the most outgoing, were the ones that didn't fear mistakes, were the ones that just give it a go. They just gave it a go, even if they knew that they were wrong, or even if they knew they might make a mistake and it might be embarrassing for 10 seconds. Well, eventually they're going to learn English, and then it's going to be cool for the rest of their life,
Yeah. So I guess, we should really leave this embarrassing moments on the back seat and just forget about it and keep on.
Everyone makes mistakes, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, that's nice. So have you ever been in a situation, where, as you pointed out, there's this one student in a class who's really more enthusiastic and who wants to answer every question that you ask. Okay. But at the same time, you cannot stifle their enthusiasm, yet you have to, give everyone the chance to get the answer right. So how do you tackle this situation?
It's a good question. Yeah, because I remember when I was a teacher, there would be like 4 kids or something, and they were super enthusiastic every lesson. Hey, yeah, me. And then at the back row, there's like 4 or 5 kids that they don't want to study at all. So, it is what it is. Again, in school, they're kind of forced to learn a language, but language isn't something, they should learn it. So how I deal with those situations, I guess you could like pair up the students. When I was a teacher, I was the assistant, but I would, if they were really enthusiastic, I'll just say, yeah, well, what's the answer, and then if there's like a team component later on, maybe in pairs, hey, why not maybe see if some of that enthusiasm is going to rub off on some of the less enthusiastic. later on. Or what you can do, if you can tell that the work's just too easy for the kid, if they're just smashing through it in 10 minutes, but it's meant to take half an hour, give them some extra level stuff. I had students that were in primary school, in elementary school, but they were already doing the middle school stuff just because they were super enthusiastic, and I didn't want them to waste time. So, I didn't want them to just sit in class and just finish the work in 2 minutes, but it's not meant to take 30 minutes. So I would give them the middle school stuff, and then they'll be like, oh, this is good. This is more challenging, but it's taking more time and I'm learning more. So you can keep challenging them. And maybe the students that don't want to study, maybe it's cheat. Maybe that's the reason why they don't want to study. It's because they tried it, but they gave up. So maybe they need something easier. Just an example though, but it could happen.
So I like what you said. Like, it's an amazing technique to, pair up these students and giving those enthusiastic students the advanced stuff so that, they still feel that they're learning good stuff. So that's really nice. That's something really, really cool stuff that you're doing out there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Very fun being a teacher.
All right. So, coming back to the, the video scenes that you pick up from the movies and everything. So, like, do you feel that the subtitles really help with learning a language, or
for a movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, like, isn't it like a bit difficult to catch up? Like, when you're watching the movie, you're trying to hear also, and you're trying to read also at the same time. So does it get difficult with the subtitles, or like what?
Oh, you mean if the subtitles, just say I'm watching a Japanese movie, if they're English subtitles and it's two languages, yeah, that can become really challenging. But I think the solution to that is to match the subtitles to the language. So just say English is their second language, they want to learn more, watch the English movie with the English subtitles. And it might be hard at the start, but if you keep going, I think you'll be good. And the good thing about that is you're reading the words and you're hearing the pronunciation at the same time. I think that could be good. That's what I do for Japanese. But Japanese, it's a bit harder because the kanji and the kanji, I don't know how to read them. So they'll just pop up on the screen. But at least then I can hear what they are. So if I hear what the kanji are, then I get an idea of how to pronounce them. Even though I might not exactly know how to write the kanji, I can still pronounce it. I can still pronounce them. But for English, I think yeah, you got in subtitles. Sometimes even when I'm watching movies, I put on the subtitles.
All right. That's nice, actually. So, is there anything that you would want to tell me, something that I missed out on asking you?
Like any final things to say? I don't know. Just I'll just say something to all the listeners. English is hard, but if you keep at it, you stick at it, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be so rewarding once you're able to get to that level where you can start speaking to people and make friends all across the globe. We've only got so much time, but we just got to make sure we make wise decisions with our time. We've only got 24 hours in a day, but if you spend them wisely and you keep at it, you keep trying hard, eventually you're going to become a good speaker. It's impossible. if you try hard every day, it's impossible to not become a good speaker.
All right. Thank you so much for these wonderful words. I guess our listeners are going to enjoy this conversation. You came up with some really awesome points, and I hope that this podcast really helps them with their language learning journey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. No,
Yeah.
the pleasure was mine. It was an honor to be here.
All right. All right. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I had super fun talking to Rupa, and I hope this episode helps you with your language learning journey. I loved it when Rupa said that when you work hard, it's impossible to not become a good speaker. You can follow Rupa on Instagram and YouTube as Rupa Sensei. It would make us happy if you follow PaperTrue as well. Our blog and social media channels are knowledge bombs. Do subscribe to our podcast, The PaperTrue Studio, to be notified of the new episodes. Share it with your friends or anyone who would be interested to listen to it. You can also watch this episode on our YouTube channel. The link is in the description. If you have any particular topic you think we should be talking about, or you know anyone who might be interested in being featured on our podcast, write to us on thestudio@papertrue.com. We have another exciting episode lined up for you. Until then, this is me, your host Tanvi, signing off. Thank you and sayonara.